Michael Jordan and Isiah Thomas's beef is the most legendary one in NBA history for a multitude of reasons. But mainly because 40 years later, that beef is still stewing. Isiah Thomas just went on All the Smoke to talk with incumbent basketball psychologists Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes for what seems like the millionth time to talk about his beef with Michael Jordan. But sadly, as time has gone on, this beef has become increasingly one-sided, and Michael Jordan stays owning Isiah Thomas. We're gonna talk about these latest comments to show that Isiah Thomas is only growing in delusion and that Michael Jordan lives in his head rent-free. The origins of this beef could be a movie in and of itself, so we're not going to spend too much time on it. However, it is highly important to understand this beef before we go into the All the Smoke podcast. In a nutshell, Isiah Thomas, he was the ringleader for the Bad Boy Pistons. And this is where it gets interesting and necessary to know. The Bad Boy Pistons were one of the greatest basketball teams in NBA history, but they're also known for being the most smash-mouth, aggressive, dirty team that's ever played. And Isiah Thomas was their ringleader. To a man, if you played the Detroit Pistons in the 80s and the 90s, well, mostly the 80s, you were coming away from that game absolutely and utterly pounded. But because of the identity they developed and the fact that they were from Detroit and they were kind of like the anti-LA, these guys took it to the next level. Isiah's famed teammate Bill Laimbeer is known as one of the dirtiest players in the game. And so, when they invented the Jordan rules, which was literally do not let Michael Jordan get off the ground, which loosely translated was smash him so that he couldn't jump. You think I'm exaggerating? You can see the tapes. Isiah Thomas, while he was friendly off the court, he was extremely competitive to a malicious degree on the court. And after smashing Michael Jordan and the Bulls for 3 straight years, when the Bulls finally overcame them, the Detroit Pistons and Isiah Thomas famously refused to shake their hands and walked off the court. A petty act that would haunt Isiah for the rest of his life.
Honesty, courage. I stand on my square. I'm upright. I'm independent, and I sit in any chair and I talk to anybody, right? Mm-hmm. But some people they ain't been telling the truth.
On The Last Dance, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen both said that Isiah Thomas is an asshole. And given the popularity of The Last Dance and the fact that this beef was pretty much dormant till then, this reignited everything, dragging Isiah Thomas's name back into the mud. Because here's the thing, as great as Isiah was, you ain't MJ.
You got on national television and you called me an asshole. And then you said you hated me. You said that on national television. Now, if you didn't mean it, get on national television
say that
and apologize for it. Now, if you meant it, let it ride as it is.
Isn't it curious that he keeps saying that, oh, you should be honest, but at the same time, MJ called him an asshole. Like, how much more honest do you want him to be? It's like this weird mixed messaging. I love how Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson are sitting there nodding their head like they're therapists, like the two biggest psychopaths who played basketball are now sitting here being mediators. Come on, guys. Like, actually, these two were amazing as players. But I don't know what purpose you're filling by letting Isiah Thomas just vent. There's nothing new here.
And ain't nobody nowhere has ever got on national television and called me an asshole and then publicly said you hate me.
You're a victim.
So Isiah had this other beef with Magic Johnson, pretty much for the exact same reason, for being a dirty player and an asshole behind the scenes. So with Magic, the source of their beef was that when Magic got diagnosed with HIV, Isiah Thomas was going behind his back saying Magic's sexual orientation wasn't what he was saying, and He was hiding stuff. Basically throwing what he called his own friend under the bus. And that beef lasted 17 years. But then they had this huge public reconciliation in 2017. And Isiah Thomas is talking about this throughout the interview as if like it's apples to apples when it's not.
Magic Johnson apologized. He said, I'm sorry. If I hurt you, when I hurt you, I didn't mean that. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But imagine how big an asshole you'd have to actually be to have that long of a beef with Magic Johnson. And then, oh yeah, he then moves on to another beef with Karl Malone.
For years, man, I wanted to do something to Karl, man. I was
Well,
like,
you mentioned some people might have, but Kmart told this story about how he was watching that game on TV when he was a youngster and got him back for you.
yeah, and I'm saying thank you.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
what I'm saying. So you said thank you, but people might have not have caught that. Yeah.
Because for years, that dude put a mark on me, man. And
Every time he'd get in the paint, Karl Malone would smash him. Oh, and Isiah was like, oh, he's coming after me. What? Hey, remind me again, are you not the guy who was the leader of the Bad Boy Pistons? Who was punching and elbowing and smashing people daily? And now you have a beef with Karl Malone for doing the exact same thing? Wow. Since you're so tough, Isiah, why do you always want to make yourself sound like the biggest victim? Because that's all this guy does. If everyone is an asshole except you, then maybe you're the asshole. And I think Isiah Thomas needs to look in the mirror. Within a 14-minute clip, he has talked about 3 long-ranging beefs that he's had. And these are the ones that we know of. So guess who's the common denominator in all of them? It's Isiah Thomas. And here's the thing. He's gone on record saying that, oh, well, if I had known the lack of handshake and the lack of sportsmanship would get me blackballed to this degree, I wouldn't have done it. And it's like, is that an apology for you? Does that count as an apology in your convoluted, deluded mind? Here's the best part. The Last Dance came out 5 years ago. Michael Jordan hasn't said diddly squat since then. But here's this guy still butthurt as ever. Just because Magic Johnson forgave you, that doesn't mean you're suddenly some great dude. Like, this guy has worn out his welcome at every single stop. And if you layer in the fact that he to this day will crow about the fact that, oh, well, we're one of the only teams to have a winning record against Michael Jordan. It's like, bro, congratulations. Nobody cares. Nobody thinks you're better than Michael Jordan. Nobody thinks the Bad Boy Pistons were better than the Bulls. Sorry, man. Yes, you were his main nemesis for a while, but he outgrew you. Both on the basketball court and off of it. Look at the difference in success. And to top it all off, Michael Jordan now runs the city that Isiah used to be the favorite son of. This is just another clear case of jealousy and bruised ego, and one man living rent-free in another man's head. Full stop.